Hello everybody, welcome on in to today's episode of Uncultured. Really appreciate you joining us. We got a very, very special episode because you know what today is? You can probably tell by the title. We are talking everything 90s today with some of the most impactful moments in the golden age of hip-hop and some of the best songs. So thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Hope you like our new intro as we are trying things out a little bit here today, which is very, very fun because of the fact that we had to save space and obviously accidentally deleted all of our old themes for things. We may even do a new Newsflash theme soon, pretty soon as well. But we're going to start off with some of the most significant events that happened in hip-hop and especially during the 90s period. And one of them was really, the most interesting thing about it, I think, was that hip-hop was really trying to assert itself, I guess you could say, on the mainstream, and on the mainstream circuits of things. So like put itself out there and make itself big and make itself acceptable culturally and really get it to be this is the time where it slowly but surely gathered into that like crossover genre that is so powerful and so potent today. And it wasn't always this way. Like there had to be a fight for it. And 30 years ago, to be precise, in the year 1990, Florida rap pioneers Two Live Crew achieved success, fame, and drew controversy due to their racy, sexually charged lyrics, which you will hear a little bit of a taste of with the first song in our mix, which will be from them. They were inspired in part by a tradition of folk and blues and reflecting of the changing social trends. And that was, again, a more kind of acceptable way of and a perception of the art form, the hip-hop art form, and accepting of hip-hop culture in the first place. So after a district court ruled their album As Nasty As They Want to Be Obscene, 3 members of the crew were arrested at Club Futura in Hollywood, Florida. The arrest garnered international attention and widespread condemnation from free speech advocates. Acquitted soon after the arrest, the group set a precedent for hip-hop lyrics as free speech and displayed the growing social reach of the genre. So let's find out a little bit more about that. And I mean, if you think about it, it really is. It's hard to fathom something like that happening now because, of course, it is. Like, people in America, and especially, I mean, what you would think is very, like, famous and very, very well-known rappers, like, they would have the perfect, like, they would be able to say whatever they want to say. They would not have that many restrictions on what they could put in their lyrics, and it would be acceptable because here's the thing, people could just do what they always do, and which is turn away and ignore a lot of the stuff that's going on, and people just be like, oh, I don't like rap's not my thing, and then that's great. And then you listen to another genre, you listen to country, you listen to the pop music or whatever, I don't know. But like, this is America. We get the First Amendment. But there was, again, a time when lyrics were a political issue and pop was under fire from politicians, parents, and the police. Rappers were getting arrested, and so were record store owners, and freedom of speech took a backseat to a court ruling about what was offensive. This is by Hunter Schwartz here in the Washington Post. But how do we ever get to the point, and what has changed since then? So it talks about, really, I think, interestingly, in 1985, about how the Parents Music Resource Center, or PMRC, released the Filthy 15, a list of 15 songs about sex, masturbation, violence, or the occult, from artists like Prince, Motley Crue, AC/DC, Madonna, and Cyndi Lauper, which are not really all hip-hop stars. Like, hip-hop was certainly a big part of it. The lyrics were certainly offensive in hip-hop, but the thing was, like, rock and roll at that time was also incredibly offensive, like the kind of emerging like grunge music a little bit later, and just people like this things they were talking about were definitely more mature themes. So it wasn't always music for kids, but a lot of kids, and really especially young adults, were looking at it as well. So MTV had made more music more visual and more visible than ever, and this rewarded artists for pushing boundaries and being controversial, as we see with the MTV Video Music Awards, where Madonna suggestively rolled around on stage while singing like a virgin. Because this is the interesting, the vulgarity of Two Live Crew is not necessarily at the time an exclusively hip-hop thing, because people are like, oh, hip-hop is like such a vulgar profession, but it really had to kind of like fight to come into its own and be a respected art form at this time, which is really insane. So, and kind of crazy to think about it, because just imagine a music group getting arrested. You'd think that would be like Pussy Riot, like in Russia. So obscenity in pop has become a political issue. Tipper Gore, the wife of then Senator and future Vice President Al Gore, was a member of the PMRC. Frank Zappa, John Dever, and Dee Snider of Twisted Sister testified before Congress in bills requiring albums with offensive content to be labeled were introduced in state houses across the country. A Missouri bill listed sodomy, incest, bestiality, sadomasochism, and adultery as possible topics that had to be labeled, according to an Entertainment Weekly story at the time. And again, most of the songs that were like being controversial were just about like sex and like violence and stuff like that, especially with rap. By the end of the year, all sides had kind of found a solution that they agreed on. The Recording Industry Association of America said it would voluntarily put parental advisory labels on albums it determined it needed them. Crisis averted, it seemed, except that a Florida man had other ideas. In the Florida man, in 1990, attorney and anti-obscenity activist Jack Thompson sent letters to state leaders, including then-Governor Bob Martinez and Janet Reno, who was a Dade County state attorney and future U.S. Attorney General under Bill Clinton, about the Miami-based hip-hop group Two Live Crew's nasty as they want to be. The album definitely deserved a parental advisory label with songs about sex like Me So Horny and The F Shop. So songs that left no doubt about what they were about, without any double entendre or euphemisms and letters. Thompson called for an investigation of whether the album also violated obscenity statutes. So it was even worse. It was just even more unacceptable. In letters, again, Thompson called for that investigation. Following the Lee County judge ruling that there was probable cause to believe the album was obscene, he sent letters to every governor and lyrics from the album to sheriff's departments across the state, judges in other Florida counties, as well as some in Alabama, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Texas, and Wisconsin issued similar rulings, according to a 1990 LA Times story. So the obscenity wars were back with Two Live Crew, but instead of the recording industry policing itself and letting consumers decide what they wanted to purchase and listen to, the government was now calling the shots in a way that they hadn't really before. Motley Crue's Tommy Lee was arrested in Georgia for mooning the audience, and a member of Skid Row was arrested in Utah for a particularly vocal, apparently, pelvic thrust, which is kind of weird. In June, Fort Lauderdale record store owner was arrested for selling Two Live Crew's album, and members of the group were arrested in Miami for performing songs from it. So, yeah, we were on a crash course with the future in which CeeLo Green's F.U., that classic song, that's really kind of a lighthearted song, and it's just like very lightheartedly telling you to F yourself. And only the clean Forget You version was allowed to be played. Eminem could never have been a thing, and Nicki Minaj and Miley could be jailed for doing the things that they do. And where would we be? I mean, I'm sure some people would say it a lot better, but I don't know. I think free expression, free speech is better there than not there. And of course, again, this is kind of a case where I do believe in the marketplace, and people will kind of weed out what is good and support that, and will go away from what they think is not good, and that will be, I think, a big part of what we see. So Rock the Vote was founded in part as a response to the Two Live Crew incident. Founder Jeff Aroff said in an email to Fix that the arrest was the real wake-up call and something used to catalyze the music industry. Madonna filmed one of its PSAs, and although it was about the voting in that year's midterm elections, she also reimagined the rapping portion of her song Vogue into a bit of freedom speech. It was very Madonna, which was Dr. King, Malcolm X, freedom of speech is as good as sex. So that was Madonna's Rock the Vote little bit there. By January 1991, Miami Herald said the campaign to prosecute purveyors of raunchy music had rolled to a halt. Like a freight train finally running out of steam, and a jury acquitted Two Live Crew, and later Too Much Joy band that was also arrested in Florida and was acquitted as well. The state attorney, Michael Satz, decided against pursuing other cases against a club owner charged in an obscenity case. So, that's what we have for you today for our first kind of big moment, the Two Live Crew arrest there for you. And we're going to start our mix with one of the Two Live Crew classics. So, yeah, this was the song that pretty much got them in trouble in this the album was called the album was called As Nasty As They Want to Be in 1989, with the lead song being Me So Horny. That's how we start off our 1990s mix. Horny as all hell, baby. So Friday night, send in those 90s requests, and we will be blasting them. Me So Horny 2 Live crew will tell you what our next big thing is coming up. Can't forget that chill side, you know, Tupac, Do For Love. So continue rolling on with our 90s night.
I should have seen you was trouble right from the start. Taught me so many lessons, how not to mess with broken hearts. So many questions. When this began, we was the perfect match, perhaps. We had some problems, but we working at it. And now the arguments are getting loud. I wanna stay, but I can't help from walking out. Let's throw it away. Just take my hand and understand. If you could see, I never planned to be a man, it just wasn't me. But now I'm searching for commitment and other arms. I wanna shelter you from harm. Don't be alarmed, your attitude was the cause. You got me stressing. Soon as I open up the door with your jealous questions. Like when can I be? You're killing me with your jealousy. Now my ambitions to be free, I can't breathe. Cause soon as I leave, it's like a trap. I hear you calling me to come back. I'm a sucker for love. Say you're pregnant and guess who's the daddy? Don't wanna fall for it, but in this case, what could I do? So now I'm back to making promises to you, trying to keep it true. What if I'm wrong? A trick to keep me holding on, trying to be strong in the process, keep it going. About to lose my composure, I'm getting close to packing up and leaving notes and getting ghosts. Tell me who knows a peaceful place where I can go to clear my head. I'm feeling low, losing control. My heart is saying leave, or what a tangle where we weave when we conspire to conceive. And now you're getting calls at the house, guess you're cheating. That's all I need to hear, cause I'm leaving. I'm out the door, never no more when you see me. This is the end, cause now I know you've been cheating. I'm a sucker for love.
Do for love. You tried everything, but you don't give up, baby. Oh yeah. You tried everything, but you don't give up, baby.
Now we left you with scars, tears on your pillow when you still stay. As you sit and pray, hoping.
When that mix with the Junior Mafia classic, Get Money.
Check it out. You wanna sit more on my living room floor? Play Nintendo with Seasonino. Pick up my phone, say Papa not home. Sex all night, mad head in the moon. Spin my V, smoke on my weed. Tattoo on TT saying B.I.G. Now check it. You wanna be my man squeeze, baby? Don't you? You wanna give me what I need, baby? Won't you? Picture life as my wife. Just think. Full length, make fat X and all links. Bracelets to match. Conversation was all that. Showed you the safe combinations and all that. Guess you can say you's the one I trusted. Who would ever think that you would spread like mustard? Shit got hot. You sent feds to my spot. Took me to court, tried to take all I got. Another intricate block. The bitch said I raped her. Damn. Why she wanna stick me for my paper? My Moschino home, my Versace hottie. Come to find out, you was fucking everybody. You knew about me, the fake ID. Cases in Virginia, body in DC. Whoa, always me, that's what I get for tricking. Came out on bail, commenced to ass kicking. Licking the door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no Disrespect my clique, my shit's imperial. Fuck around and made a milk box